Haumitakuyapi, welcome everyone, and welcome to the Lakota language mini lesson 22. In this lesson, we're going to talk about a question we've already had, and we're going to expand upon it. You can see on the screen what I'm going to talk about, and all kinds of colors and take a look at it. Don't let it scare you. The more you look at it, the more acquainted you become with it, the more it becomes a part of you. And look at the question and answer, and look at the second one, and you see how similar they are. You see the English. Look at the Lakota side on the left side of the screen. And the words I want to focus on are the ones that are purple and green colored. Look at what's on the screen. And I'm going to explain what this is in a few minutes. But first of all, let's look at the question. We've had this question several times. And the question is Dokesh ke ya he. And you see the English translation, and a possible answer could be Daya wa un. And you see the answer in English. One thing I want to say that I try to say in all the videos that we've done so far and that we will continue to do is that when asking a question, in general, men have one way of asking the question and women have another way. And you see that on the screen. Look at the last word. You see the word ho and a diagonal mark followed by the word he. And normally when you see this on the mini lessons, the word on the left side is what men will say, and the word on the right side is what women will say. And this is the general rule. But like in a lot of things concerning Lakota language and culture and spirituality, there's always going to be exceptions. And the exception here is when men are speaking in a family setting, or the situation is informal, or they are extending fellowship to someone they are talking to for the first time. When they ask questions in those situations, they will say he at the end of their questions. And everything else, they're going to say ho. So when a situation is formal, like a meeting or something official or something serious happened, then a man would say this question like, Dokesh ke ya un ho? And when you hear a man using the word ho, then you know that it's a serious thing, yeah, that it is something official, or it's really a formal thing, yeah, formal, not former, formal thing in speaking for men. But the exception is when men are speaking in a family situation or among friends, or like I said, extending fellowship to people they're talking to for the first time, they will use he in their questions. So when a man is meeting you for the first time and he says Dokesh ke ya un he, this is a really good sign that he's very interested in getting to know you, whether it's friendship or whatever, something really nice. So I like to call this exception the Tioshpai way of speaking. And Tioshpai is a Lakota extended family system. That's the friendly way, okay? And women are always saying he in their questions, which is very nice, yeah? So when I am asking questions in these videos, I'm speaking in the Tioshpai way. When I teach in person, when I teach groups of people, I speak in the Tioshbai way because I want the class to be like a Tioshbai, because in the Tioshbai, people help each other, they support each other. It's not a contest of who's the best one, or, like that. In all my years of teaching, whenever I taught a class, I have my students who understand things quicker. I have them be a support to those who are having a little bit difficulty or a little bit slower. So you get this family feeling. And so to encourage that, I speak in the Tioshbai way in my lessons. So when you hear me say the dialogues, I always say he. But for those of you men who only want to speak formal, you can say huo whenever I say repeat after me or something. But I'm going to say he. I'm saying this because there's a lot of people who say that, oh, men must always end their questions this way and women must always end their questions that way. This is really a dogmatic way of thinking, and this is not part of the Lakota perspective. This is something different. A lot of Lakota language teachers today do teach like that, and it's because of their Christian influence or their Catholic influence, where in that way of thinking, everything has to be a certain way, and there is no exceptions. Yeah, this is not the Lakota way of thinking. So when I'm teaching, I've said this before and I'll say it again, and I probably will say it again in the future, is that when I teach Lakota, I teach it from the Lakota perspective. And in that perspective, there will be exceptions to rules. And this is one of them. That's why I'm mentioning that. One time I heard somebody say that they watch Dances with Moo. Dances with Moos. they watch Dances with Cows and no. I mean, they watch the movie. No, got this image in my mind. Dances with Moose. Okay. Okay, let me try to get my thoughts together. Okay, Dances with Wolves, and some people say that in that movie, Kevin Costner talks like a woman. I kinda don't think so. I've seen that DVD, I have that DVD. I've seen it very recently, and he pretty much says the male gender endings in most of his Lakota dialogue. So I have to disagree with that. And even if he does say something without a male gender ending, it's because he's speaking in the Tioshbai way. He's not speaking like a woman, he's speaking in the Tioshbai way. I'm making a really big point on this, okay, because I haven't done that enough. So that's why I'm mentioning this in this video here. Alright, let's go to the screen. Now that we know this little explanation, and you will understand that I will be saying he when I ask the questions, because I'm speaking in the Tioshbai way. Okay, so look at the dialogue on the screen. Dokesh keya un he. How are you? Dayan wa un. I am well. And we look at the words, look at the colors. I did this for a reason. You look towards the center of the screen and you will see that reason. I'm going to be talking about this verb un. You see it on the screen, U and a nasal N. It's an N that has a little tail on it. Un means to be. And when you're speaking Lakota, what I'm going to explain here, this is really important to learn when you're learning this language. It's really the keys. This is what I've been talking about in previous lessons called conjugations. I have 3 videos that introduce that concept. You can see them on my channel. There are mini lessons 17, 18, and 19. In those 3 videos, I give an introduction to the 3 systems of conjugations. And so I'm going to apply that to this little dialogue. Again, look towards the center of the screen and you see yeah, the word un. This means to be. Let's go down the little list here. There's 4 words. Wa you see that means I am. And look at the purple. The wa is purple and the I is purple in the English side. This wa means I. And look at that. In Lakota, it's 1 word. English, it's 2. It's very important to realize this. Next word, ya-u, which means you are. Look at the ya, and look at the English side, you. They're both purple. Ya means you. Ya-u is 1 word, and as you can see, English, you are is 2 words. Okay, the 4th word in the list, you see he-u. This he means he or she or it or a person or a place or a thing. That's why it's all purple. So in the Lakota, it's pronounced as he. Okay, it's not he, it's he. But then the English side, it's English. It's a different language, so it's different pronunciation, even though it's spelled the same. He or she or it or a person or a place or a thing. And the green is meaning is. Look at how it conjugates. It can also be am. It can be are. To be. You see that? This is what's called conjugating. It exists in all languages. Okay, this is just the way it is. So you look at this and you see that in the middle 2, wa-u and ya-u, the words in Lakota are just 1 word. Wa-u, I am. Wa-u is 1 word. The next one, ya-u, which means you are. And again, in the Lakota, it's 1 word. Ya-u, 1 word. Very important to know. That's why I'm repeating it. But the last one, you see the he, and it's in parentheses. I chose to do that for a reason. Because the he could be replaced by, for example, a person's name. Or it could be a relative. It could be a friend. It could be anything. You see in the purple up here in the middle of the screen. He or she or it or a person or a place or a thing. This he means all of that. Yeah, so you have a lot of options here. So this he could be replaced by a person's name. So look at the dialogue underneath next, and you see the person's name I am choosing is Pamela. So look at the next question. Do keshke Pamela unhe? In the English, you see the definition. Now look at the answer. Pamela Dayan un. Look at the right side of the screen. You have the definition for that. So here is where we are talking about somebody. We are asking about somebody. You look at the first question answer on the top of the screen. They're talking to each other. How are you? I am fine. But when you ask about somebody else, or you're talking about somebody else, then things change a little bit. You see that on the screen? Compare the sentences. Look at the sentences, the answers. On the English, let's compare I am well, and compare that to the last sentence, Pamela is well. Now look at the Lakota. The Lakota says Dayan wa un. Remember, the wa is I. That means I. The means am in this situation. Now look at the very last sentence at the bottom of the screen. Pamela Dayan un. Why did I just say un? Why didn't I say Ya'u? Because it wouldn't make sense, for one thing, because Ya'u means you. So that doesn't make sense. Yeah? Why didn't I say Wa'u? Because I'm not talking about I. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about this other person named Pamela. So there is only U by itself. Again, look at this little list in the center of the screen here, and you see the he in parentheses. I substituted the name Pamela instead. So I'm not using he, I'm using a person's name. So when I do that, I take away the parentheses, and I take away the he, and I use the name Pamela. So now really think about this. Yeah, look at this. Here you have wa'u, dayan wa'u, the second sentence, yeah, up on the top of the screen. Wa'u, I am. It's one word. Now go down to the last sentence and just look at the purple and green. Focus on the purple and green, just for now. Here you have Pamela, They're not connected. The words are not connected. They are separate. So again, wa'u, one word. The second sentence, wa'u, it's one word. Again, focus on the purple and the green. You see, the purple is the subject. The green is the verb. Wa'u, subject and verb in one word. See that? And it's at the end of the sentence. Talking a little grammar here. And then again, going back to that sentence at the end. Pamela, dayan, Pamela is the subject. The letters that you see in purple, those are the subjects. And the letters you see in the green, those are the verbs. So that last sentence, Pamela, dayan, Pamela is your subject. Look at that. It's the first word in the sentence. This is what happens when you're talking about somebody else or something else. You put that word first in these kind of sentences. And then whatever is the verb, that stays at the end. And then anything else stays in the middle. Okay, do you see that? So just look at it. Watch this video over and over and examine this and write it down on a paper, because believe me, when you write things down, it's pulling something out of you. Yeah, you watch the video, it's putting information inside of you. Then when you write the sentence down on paper or a pizza box or whatever, whatever you write on somebody's forehead. Kinds of stories coming to my mind here. Okay, anyway, when you write the sentences that you are learning from these videos down, that helps you to comprehend more. It's part of the learning process. So I encourage all the time, when you learn something, to write it down again. This is why I don't believe when you go to classes and the teacher writes something on the board and you take your smartphone and take a picture of it and say, okay, I have the notes. Yeah, you do, but you can study that, and sure, that's fine. It might work to a point. But believe me, when you write it down, it does something extra and you get more out of it. For those people who are from my generation and older, this is how it was in school. Yeah, the teacher wrote things on the chalkboard. We didn't have whiteboards when we were in high school. Teacher wrote things down and we had to write the notes down. on our papers, and that really helps you comprehend. It's an old-fashioned way, but you know what? Old-fashioned means it works. So I really encourage you to write these things down. Then you'll understand and comprehend even more of what this information is. So again, let's compare those two sentences. Dayan wa'u and Pamela dayan. I didn't say wa'u or ya'u with this Pamela sentence because they don't have to be there. Yeah, wa means I, ya means you. So you just use by itself. And now the last thing I want to say concerning this grammar thing here, wa'u. I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Look at the second sentence on the screen, wa'u. It's one word. The wa is the subject, the is the verb. It's one word. The subject and verb are connected to each other. When your subject is I and you, it's also for we. That's a little bit advanced there. So I'm just talking about I and you for this video. This is a grammar introduction. If you want to know more, you can learn from me in private instruction, and I'll give instructions to that at the end of this video. Okay, now again, look at the last sentence. The subject is Pamela. It's not I, it's not you, it's a person. So I use that person's name. That person is the subject, and in this situation, this is the first word in the sentence. But that verb still stays at the end. So to sum it up, in Lakota language, the verbs are always at the end. They're always at the end of the sentence. In some sentences, like the second sentence on the top of the screen, in this kind of situation, the subject is attached to the verb, but the verb is still at the end. Wa'u, I am. And in other situations, the verb is by itself. And in these kind of situations, the reason why the verb is by itself is because you're talking about somebody else or something else. It's not I, it's not you, it's something else. And that something else, whatever that is going to go at the beginning of the sentence. Like the person Pamela, the name. Yeah, I put that first. So these are two basic forms of sentences. There's actually 3 forms of sentences in Lakota language. But before learning that third form, it's incredibly important to learn the first 2 first. And these are the first 2 forms. This is just grammar introduction. I'm not going to really go into this because I don't like to talk too much about that. I like to slowly put the toe in the water to test the temperature, figuratively speaking. Don't just throw yourself in because maybe you don't know how to swim. So you don't know how deep it is. Yeah, so you just slowly enter the river or whatever. It's figuratively speaking here. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just tipping the toe into the grammar lake. Yeah. But it's important. Yeah, when you learn any new language, you do have to learn grammar. When you are born, your first language, you learn by people talking to you, and it's the first language, and you pick it up, and next thing you know, you're talking like crazy. Learning a second language is not the same way. A lot of children can learn a second language really fast, but the older we get, our brains develop in such a way that it gets more difficult to learn a new language. So learning a second language or a new language is always going to be a different process, and that process is going to include grammar. It's just the way it is. I know a lot of people, as soon as they start talking about grammar, they give up. And I encourage you to hang in there. This is why I'm just taking it very slow here, just to give you a small taste of it. And eventually, as you learn more, it becomes easier, and you have to speak to somebody. If you have nobody to speak with, teach somebody. As I said before, if you have a stuffed animal, talk to your stuffed animal. If you have an imaginary friend, better yet. Just kidding. I don't mean to make fun of that. But you got to speak. You have to talk to somebody. That's why I said, what I teach you here, teach somebody. They'll be impressed with you, and you learn it together. Yeah, two for the price of one. How about that? And even then, I'm giving this to you for free. Cool beans. So, this is just a grammar introduction. And if you would like to learn more about this, because I just put 3 basic conjugations up here, there's actually more than that. There's we are, you all are, they are. And then there's more conjugations come after that too. I'm just giving you basic stuff here in this mini lesson. If you are very serious about learning this language and would like to learn more about this, look below the screen here and where it says the description of the video. Click where it says show more. That's how it is on the computer. On a smartphone, it'll be a little triangle to the right side of the title. You click that and the description opens up, and there you can contact me if you would like to take some individual personalized lessons with me. And if you send payment for a lesson, please in your payment send your contact information so I can contact you and tell you, okay, I got your payment, let's set an appointment up. I do my teaching in a virtual classroom, so I give you that information at that time. So that's if you're very serious about learning the language, we can do that. Because it's a beautiful language, and once you get more acquainted and familiar with these little things called grammar, it's going to be really easy after that. It's always the beginning that is very scary. And like I said, a lot of people, as soon as they get into the grammar thing, they back away. Then they blame the teacher. But if you're really serious, you can do this. And what I wanted to say earlier is that even though you speak your own language really good, most of us cannot teach it. Try it. If English is your main language, explain irregular verbs. Explain why, when you look at a verb like is, and why does that go to are, and why does that go to was? And how do you know when to use was and then were? This is grammar. We say it, we don't even know, but we say it because we've always been talking to each other. For those of you who speak the same language. But try teaching your own language to somebody. If you don't understand grammar, try teaching it. Most of us don't even understand the grammar of our own language. We can teach people how to say certain things, but to really get fluent in something, you gotta take grammar eventually. So when you're learning a new language, grammar is just going to be part of the process. The sooner you accept that, the easier the language is going to become. And I know this from my students that I have, former students as well, that this conjugation process is really the key to learning how to speak Lakota. And once you have that down, you can do a lot. You'll really get good at this. And seriously, for those of you who speak English, do you know every word in the English dictionary? So the idea is to learn to say sentences that you say all the time. And then when you learn that, then you learn how to construct that. And then As you learn new things, you have these new patterns of how to make sentences in your mind. It gets easier after that. It's a slow start, but that's usually how it is when you learn a new language. I've said this before, clear back in lesson 1, but the thing is, hang in there. And I am encouraging you, I am applauding you, and for those of you who have been following me from lesson 1, hang with me as we continue this. I really applaud you. And again, I encourage you, don't give up. Hang in there and talk to somebody, as I said, teach somebody what you know, and write this down. Yeah, this is very important to write this down. Okay? Very good. Now, as far as dialoguing is concerned, we can use these 2 questions that we have on the board. We've gone through this so many times. You see what the words mean. Dokeshke means how. Dayan is in pink on one side. In English, it's well. It means good in a nice way, but in this sentence, you would say, I'm well. I'm doing good in a nice way. In English, the best way to say that is well. So you see how the colors connect to each other in the different languages. And I just explained to you what the other words mean. So that's already there, so I don't have to go through every word. Let's go ahead and dialogue. This sentence you should know because we've done this so many times. So I'm not going to repeat every word. Let's just go right for the dialogue. We'll go through every question and every sentence. Repeat after me, please. Dokeshke. Next sentence. Repeat after me, please. Dayan. Very good. You notice I'm only going through it one time because we've done this many times. Okay, so now go to the one below. Repeat after me, please. The question. Dokeshke Pamela unhe. Next sentence. Repeat after me, please. Pamela Dayan un. Very good. Very good. Now let's dialogue. Okay, I'm going to ask the questions, you answer. So, here we go. Dokeshke ya unhe. Dokeshke Pamela unhe. Very, very good. Now let's switch the parts around. Now you ask the questions and I will answer. Ask your question now. Dayan wa un. Pamela Dayan un. Very good. Pat yourself on the back, look in the mirror and say, Lila washte. Really good. Okay, we're all good. Yeah, we're all good. Okay, so with that, I will let you practice on this. Practice, practice, practice makes atakili. Means really good. And we'll see you in the next lesson. Dokshaake. To learn more about speaking the Lakota language, you can read my book called Chante Etanha Ooglake, Speaking from the Heart. You can see the book cover on the right side of this screen. This book contains the information to what I talk about on my Lakota language mini lesson videos. To purchase this book, please click below where it says Show More. Clicking that link will open up the description below, and there you will see a link called To Purchase My Books. As you will see, it's an eBay link. Click on that eBay link, and there you will see the information to get this book. Lila Pilamayelo. Thank you very much.